Hello and welcome back to Critical Technocolor. I'm your host, Hart,
And I'm Zach.
and this week we're sticking with our theme of Japanese bureaucracy with the 2019 film Cats. Listeners of our previous episode may recall that last time we watched a film chosen by me, Ikaru, a critically acclaimed film by Akira Kurosawa about a dying man learning to live. And this week we watched Cats, a live-action adaptation of a 1980s musical about cats.
You nailed it. I don't even think this is about cats.
Not really.
I think cats just because I don't think these aren't cats, right?
In a way, no. I mean, they're definitely
they're jellicles,
well,
right?
well, there's definitely an element here, and it's definitely a part of this movie that I want to talk about for sure in relation to that, because I feel like the musical is set in a like a dump. It takes place mostly in the dump. They're in the dump. It's a musical, so they're singing to the audience. It works very well. But in the movie, there is no audience. You have an insert character for the audience, but more importantly, the movie goes outside the dump into a whole like street, and we see houses and we see world building that just brings up more questions of what the fuck is happening.
I love how you use world building here.
Yeah.
What world is this?
Well, my theory is that it's the Rapture, because why else are all these houses like fully decorated and like there's food on the table, but there's no people anywhere?
No, there's no people, but so the only things that exist in this world, and it's weird because like there's infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
There's whole homes and food, and there are just roaches,
Yeah.
cats, and they're mice, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it, really. Those are the only things that ever appear. And this is the hellscape that sets up this movie. Now, okay, let's take a step back, because Cat is like a famous musical.
Yes.
Cats is a famous musical from what? Like, I think from like the 80s?
Yeah, it's like
something?
80s Andrew Lloyd Webber or whatever.
Because with Cats on Broadway. Actually, Cats on Broadway, I think no, it's not running.
Not
Yeah,
currently.
I mean, I see Cats the musical website here, but Cats, right, started in the 80s. I remember growing up as a kid seeing the Cats commercial.
Yeah, there was definitely cats everywhere, and there was like they were selling it hard, and people were like going to see it multiple times, and it was a big deal for a while.
Yeah, right. So people, and it won Tonys. Like this is by all measures, this is a good musical.
And I want to point out, because I was watching a lot of behind the scenes stuff. There was an interview with Taylor Swift and Andrew Lloyd Webber, and he was talking about the opening night of Cats and how all the cats were coming up to him like, "What the hell are we doing?" And basically the fear was they were going to go out there and they were going to laugh them off the stage because it was so ridiculously absurd. And then apparently they applauded after the first song, and he was just like, "Oh my god, they're buying it," is what he said.
It's unfortunately for him, lightning didn't strike twice here, because the Cats 2019 movie that we watched, that we absorbed, is not good.
No.
It's not a good music. Well, okay, it's not a good movie.
No.
But you know what? Musicals. Well, okay. I was gonna say music. I was gonna say musicals. Do they make the best films?
Well, there are good musical films.
Yeah, exactly. I immediately like in my head was like, oh wait, the Sound of Music. Even Mamma Mia. But this is not a good story, because there is no story.
Yeah, it's to me, it's basically, it's the lottery. They just vote on who's gonna die. Like,
yeah, what is going on with this collection of cats? So the main cat. So you said that the main cat is the audience proxy.
yeah, she's just kind of thrown in, doesn't know where she is or what's happening, and they basically sing the explanation to her.
So are you saying? Oh yes, there's a lot of explaining, which is a musical thing, and so Victoria the cat doesn't exist in the real musical.
I don't think so. And from what I understand in the musical, most of the songs are kind of sung about a cat. And in this one, a lot of the cats sing the songs about themselves. So it's
Oh,
a little
so
bit different. And
the
they've kind of,
perspective.
yeah, and they've removed one character and changed things around to where the story is not exactly the same from the musical, but I have not watched the whole musical in entirety to know that.
Also, what story? Like,
Well, that I'm not sure because I feel like when it comes to the movie, at the end, I'm just like, what the hell even just happened? What is a Jellicle cat? Like-
that's the real question. That's the real question. This whole movie is, and that's these aren't cats. These are Jellicle cats.
Yes, Jellicle cats.
Bipedal monstrosities with human faces.
Yes.
And this white cat shows up, and this white cat's coming through town, and she gets kind of like assaulted,
Yeah, basically.
verbally.
She's jumped in.
But yeah, by this group of cats. I bought this movie up as a joke. I was like, yeah, this is fun. 2019 film. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it because it bombed so bad.
Yes.
It was kind of like a horrifying thing to see. But I had watched it in the theater, and now rewatching it, it is kind of difficult to get through because there's so many. Because there isn't any dialogue, which I don't, I don't know musicals well enough to know if this is the thing, but I don't think so.
There are definitely musicals where a lot of things are like spoken word, like Les Miserables is like got a lot of that, talk singing, which I think is by the same director. I'd have to double check that.
Yes, Tom Hopper directed Les Mis.
And
That's right.
and The King's Speech, which I like that movie. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Well, I have to take a step back because he really. This is like a vanity project. Like, I don't know what he was on that he thought like Cats was the next musical.
Because from what I understand, it was supposed to be an animated film, and then like once he was on board, it became live action, I believe.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know. And
But it makes me think Cats would have been so much. Would this have worked as an animated movie?
I think it probably would have worked better. I honestly think it would be better if they were just wearing actual fur suits, because a lot of the unsettling parts of the movie is the CGI.
Right, yeah, it's very Uncanny Valley.
Yes, things don't look right, and if you just start looking at their feet too long, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. It's like a PS2 game in some shots, and in other shots, it's like a fever dream. Because none of the cats actually look like cats. Their fur is skin.
Yeah.
It feels like it was like a late game decision to do that,
and it might have been because the CG was very like rushed in some ways, but like, and apparently they fixed it even after release. But also, looking at all the behind the scenes stuff, it seems like, I don't know how far into production, but they have fully built sets. Everything is to scale. The sets are really impressive. I was actually shocked, like, oh, these are practical sets. That's why the backgrounds look good. But like, no, it's just people in suits dancing around. Which I don't want to jump too far ahead, but there is a scene later when they're singing and dancing. There's two characters holding up a tuba, and the tuba bar goes through one's head and arms at one point, and it's disturbing.
Yeah, it's gross. It's nasty, and it feels like a weird like cutscene from a video game.
Yes,
but so the real. I guess if I were to say the plot of this movie is the Jellicle cats are preparing for the Jellicle Ball.
Yes.
And that is a ceremony where cats compete to be chosen and granted a new life, maybe into a new world. Maybe they get granted life as a regular cat.
Yeah, I mean, it says that they ascend to the Heaviside layer where the life they've always wanted comes true or something like that.
I don't know anything about their lives. As far as I see, I think they're living their best lives, right?
It does seem like it. And from looking at behind the scenes, they were talking about how Victoria is like kind of coming into this world and like, realizing like maybe she belongs here. So it's like I don't I don't know.
Yeah,
Is this
she
their life?
belongs in hell. These cats belong in hell. They belong where they belong where they live.
Yeah.
So, Jellicle Ball competitors, right?
Yes.
Now, this has a now. I don't know. Did they talk about this in the behind the scenes? I didn't watch the behind the scenes. So you're the cats expert here.
Yes.
So there's a big what part of this draw of this movie is there's an all-star cast,
Yes.
right? And so you've got Judi Dench. You've got people that you wouldn't expect to be in a musical.
Ian McKellen.
Yes, you got Judi Dench, Ian McKellen, Rebel Wilson,
Yep.
James Corden.
Yep.
And then you've got actual singers like Taylor Swift, Jason Derulo, and Jennifer Hudson.
Yes. And a lot of different dancers. Apparently there's a couple of twins. They're the ones wearing sneakers. They're the sneaker cats. They're like famous French street dancers.
Oh, they're the like tap dancing cats, right?
They don't tap. They have like sneakers and they do like, I don't know, street dancing kind of stuff.
They bust a jig at one point.
Yes, they do.
I think I like. There are moments of this movie where I like tuned out a lot of a lot of the like breakdowns. I don't know. But the scene, probably the most horrific scene, because I think this was the scene that went viral. Was the first, I think one of the first scenes when what's her face, Rebel Wilson's cat.
Yes.
They go into a kitchen. Rebel Wilson's cat is there, and she starts singing. And Rebel Wilson isn't a singer, right?
Well, she's in like the Pitch Perfect movies, but I don't know enough about her.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong, but Rebel Wilson to me isn't a singer. Maybe she is. Maybe, but I feel like, oh, she's a singer. Okay.
Which the problem here is that in that scene, she does not sound good at all.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. And I'm sorry for saying Rebel Wilson is a singer because apparently she is. But yeah. That scene, it was very like, what is she doing? That's why I thought she was just, I'm not really familiar with Rebel Wilson. So I was like, oh, she's just an actress. Same as like James Corden.
Yes.
Which everyone knows James Corden isn't a singer either. And somehow he keeps getting cast in musicals. So I think these songs are disgusting.
Yes, and so what I was looking at a video that was talking more about the actual musical aspect of the movie, which I don't know a lot about music, but it
God, you went in on Cats.
I did. Yes.
You're a Cats expert now.
I did everything to avoid finishing the movie. But the video was talking about how that song with Rebel Wilson in the musical, there are 3 backup singers, and then the main cat is who they're singing about. But there's the melody and the harmony. Rebel Wilson is singing the melody, I believe, and so she is not singing in time with the music like you would expect, and not like the musical. And she's singing the fast and slow parts, which I believe are sung by different people in the stage musical. So it just comes off very awkward, poorly paced. The cockroaches are tap dancing, but their feet don't match the tapping. Like, there's just everything happening.
Interesting, because I feel like I get that's why I thought that, because I was like, this isn't good.
Yeah, and that and her going, whoa.
But it's so strange. It's almost like everything's just like a moment off.
Yeah.
Right? And you would think it's like lag or something.
Yeah, just
that's
the
movie. That's how
it's.
Yeah, that's how it's presented.
She seems like she's like out of breath. She can't keep up.
And this is a character choice. This is a movie choice.
It seems like it. That's what they went with.
Tom Hooper is insane for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
She eats roaches in this, and that's the scariest part of the movie. This is scarier than most horror movies.
Yes, the humanized roaches and mice especially are very disturbing, especially the scatting mice, where they just like it just adds to the horrificness of the song. And
that sentence, scatting roaches already is it like I'm telling you, I immediately, like, my stomach was upset watching it.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it starts with her basically just like spreading her legs and scratching her crotch and just like, ah.
And there's a lot of crotch stuff in
Yes,
this. And like I guess cats are known for showing their butts all the time
that is true.
or licking themselves, but there's a lot of crotch stuff in this.
Yeah,
This is like it's like weirdly sexual.
definitely a little bit.
Right? I mean, I think what's his face when Jason Derulo shows up.
Oh, that's when it gets super sexual.
That's when it gets really horny. I think that was the part I really started gagging at. Like I couldn't take it. Well, I know I would say that. I say that, but then I think I think like every scene I like gag, and I can gag a little more. And it's just like either what's happening on screen or the cats themselves, because the darker cats, the black cats, Jason Derulo's, and Idris Elba, especially Idris Elba, looks like he's dipped in oil.
Yes, very shiny.
And it made me so uncomfortable. This is like I don't know what. There's like a phobia. It's like ugh.
Yes, they're very I don't know, they're kind of disturbing in a lot of scenes. It just especially with the lighting in some of them.
I know. I like I wrote these names that Bustopher Joe. Bustopher Joe. Motherfucker. Okay. Now I saw this in the theater and I saw it completely sober, but it feels like it's something where you're like, wow, like I'm drunk or I'm high watching this. But there are certain moments that took me out, and not in like not in the oh my god I'm gonna throw away like most of the movie made me feel. Like I think some of these songs are catchy. Yes. Is that crazy of me to say?
Yeah, I would say some of them are catchy. Yes.
Skimble Shanks. The tap dancing cat.
Yeah, the what is it? The railroad cat?
Yes, the railroad cat.
That one is one of the more catchier songs.
Right?
And has a lot of the more horrifying CGI, which takes place in the Egyptian. A lot of that is where the movie gets really bad.
Yeah, and then what the problem, like, I mean, among other things, it's kind of crazy the perspective in this movie, because the cats are sometimes like the size of things, and then they're like tiny.
Yes.
Sometimes, and then sometimes they're like, it seems like they're big.
Yes.
And in that scene, the like transition, because like they transition to like outside, but they seem so tiny, and then like just a few scene ago they were like inside and they seemed kind of huge.
Yeah, there's really poor perspective in a lot of scenes, and especially the railroad scene. They're very like superimposed. That's the scene where you can see the tap dancer. There's the green reflection from the green screen on his boots and everything. Like it gets really bad. They tried to color correct a few spots, but it just looks purple and everything looks very superimposed.
Yeah, and you pointed that out to me about the green screen, and I'd seen this movie early enough that I saw the like Judi Dench had like a human hand.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But it's crazy to me that even now, 2 years later, you go on Amazon or whatever, you buy this movie or you rent it, you still see these kind of errors in a movie like this where I feel like it could be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, there's people floating above the ground, feet clipped through the ground. There's my favorite is it's during the tap dance scene where a lot of the background dancers, you can see the actor in the suit clipping through the cat bodies at certain points, and it's multiple cats in the scene. And if you slow it down, like it's bad.
It's nuts. It looks like one of those like, you know, those animated films that like rip off like Pixar movies.
Oh yeah,
you know, like Rat-Tat-Toying. You know, it's like this like cheap outsourced
Italian
CG.
animation.
Yeah. I wonder, like what? Who did they send this to?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, because they put a lot of money into it, and it seemed, again, they built big physical sets. None of it looked cheap. I mean, these sets are to scale of the scenes, and it's pretty impressive. But then I don't know. They just like they were like they a lot of the behind the scenes was talking about we've got this amazing new technology that'll put fur on the actors and like they're all really hyped about it. And I don't know if they just thought it was going to be better than it was, but at the end of the day, they made it. They looked at it. They went, "Yep, that's good," and they put it in theaters.
Well, see, I don't know if they said, "Oh, this is good."
And that's what I'm curious about.
I know that they've had to have said all this, put it out there, and then like
They must have been
realized.
test screenings.
Well, like I don't know what they were doing, but like they must have realized, like, oh shit, because like how far do you go before you realize, like, oh, we've made a mistake?
Yeah, I don't know, because a lot of the promotional material it's got whimsical music. They're talking about how this is just like a dream come true. This is such a special moment. Then we're making Cats the musical. Like it's all got this very high production to it. And then you watch the movie and it's like, whoa, what happened?
Now, I read this. This is pulled off the wiki, but according to this, right, Hooper's lack of familiarity with the visual effects process and animation as a whole, where the director would demand entire complete renders be made at great cost or that real-life references of cats be used for every movement. The team spent 6 months producing the film's 2-minute trailer, leaving just 4 months to finish the entire 110 minutes.
Wow.
The film's visuals were completed just hours before its premiere.
That is what I heard.
So they saw this. They didn't see this. They left it to God.
It sounds like, because I mean, it was supposedly, again, it was released in very poor shape, and they re-edited it and put it out a new copy like a week or two later, just trying to make it better. And I guess at that point they were like, we've dumped too much money in this. People are not seeing it. They're not buying it. We got to stop, pull out.
Right. And like, I think the thing is about Cats is that you might think, oh, this is going to be a fun, like campy, silly movie to watch.
Yes.
And it's not.
No.
It's actually kind of a chore to watch. Like even
very
like
tedious.
I was already drooling. I was already seized out on the couch when Skimble Shanks started tap dancing.
Yeah.
And then the theater. Oh, and all these cats get killed. They don't get killed, but they get kind of killed.
Yeah, kind of.
They get like shot into dust for no reason. We don't know why. At first, I thought they like succeeded. I thought they made it. I was like, oh, they're like they're doing their thing, and they got sent to wherever they wanted to go. And it turns out they're being held hostage by the bad guy of the movie, McCavity, the mystery cat.
Yes, the criminal.
Right, and now, first, a little racist on their part. A little racist that this is the criminal cat, and it's the blackest cat in
He's basically got voodoo or something.
He is just like, when he shows up, he's rifing.
Yes.
I think that's right. Like squirming. Like, he's just like gyrating, and it's, I wonder if that was Idris Elba in a suit, like really moving like that.
Yeah, I saw him practicing the dance moves. That's him.
I believe it. You know, so I've ever told you this story, Hart. I met Idris Elba.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At I performed at a club. And I'm in the bar and I'm just hanging out, you know, talking, shooting the shit. And my friend who worked like the booth, she comes over to me and she's like, "Hey, I got a surprise for you. But just like stick around." And I was like, "What is it?" She goes, "No, don't worry about it. Like you'll see it." Yeah, well, she says, "Don't worry about it. You'll see it when you see it." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." And then everyone starts clearing out, right? Because the show is over. And the next show is about to begin. They're moving everyone out, moving everyone into the next auditorium. And she just keeps saying, like, wait for it, right? and I'm there with my dad. And I was, don't ask why I invited my dad to my show. But I'm waiting there, and out from the back, from like the other side of the bar, two guys pop up, two like big dudes in suits, and they walk up, they walk forward, and then a smell hits the room. It hits the bar. Heart, when I tell you, this smelled so good. It was just like, when like, I don't know, like smoke kind of like if a genie were to come out of a bottle and like smoke would sort of, it felt like something just rolled through the room, and it smelled so good. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And out comes Idris Elba, built like a tank, mind you, huge guy. And he comes out with his wife, I think, or girlfriend, or just a woman around his arm. And he walks in, and he's flanked by these guys. And he takes one look to my friend, and he shakes his head, and he looks at me, and I'm there like, holy shit, it's Idris Elba. And he like basically winks at me. He's like, hey. And then my dad was like, who is that? And so I had to spend the rest of the train ride home explaining that was Luther. But Idris Elba is like, I feel like Idris Elba is such a good actor in the things that I see him in, because even though I feel like he's never gotten a part that's like been necessarily great, he is always the most memorable part of anything he does, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I haven't seen a lot of movies with him, but I really did love the movie Beasts of No Nation. I thought that was pretty good.
Right, yeah, and that was actually one of the better, I think one of the beefier parts he'd ever got, where he was like kind of featured prominently in
a real
movie.
serious role.
Yeah, he's such a good actor, and he's so memorable and everything. So when I saw him in this movie, he kind of steals the spotlight, but even, in a gross way. Like he's dipped in oil. And him and Taylor Swift's character are like baddies. They're the baddies of this.
Yes.
Taylor Swift, I like, what's up with her?
She likes cats. I don't know.
What's up with her? I feel like she was thrown in it. Like she was what was funny, trying, but it wasn't. It was same thing as Rebel Wilson. I feel like it wasn't. She wasn't really like hitting the notes she needed to hit, or at least like it wasn't compelling. Maybe I had already like my eyes had already rolled behind my head and I was already shaken out. But I thought every time the people you weren't expecting to know how to sing, like I would be like, all right, whatever, Ian McKellen and whatever, he does his little talk, sing, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was expecting something from Taylor Swift, and she was like nothing. I felt nothing.
Yeah, I definitely would say during that scene I was more distracted by all the catnip writhing that was going on, and there's just so much happening.
Maybe that was it. I was just distracted by how weirdly sexy everything became when they were on the screen.
Maybe so, because that catnip hits, and for some reason it's golden glitter, and they're just drugging everyone.
Oh God, no. And this happens in like, so the cats are moving around this city, town.
They're in London. Most of the movie takes place on like one kind of street, I guess, just by the Egyptian.
Okay.
And the house is nearby, I guess. Well, I guess they only really go into one house, which I did want to point out. There's the scene where Victoria gets trapped in the house and the dog tries to come and attack them. But she gets saved. But the more importantly, they try to close the bedroom door to stop the dog, and Mr. Mistopheles is there helping her. But the door is being held open on the other side by the dog, assumedly, which we don't see, and there's no shadow of a dog. There's just clear light coming through the doorway. It's very bizarre. And I just want to know, is there a human dog on the other side of that door?
Yeah, a dog with a human face is barking. Maybe it's a stand-in for like god. And these godless jellicles are running amok war-torn London. I don't. It's not war. It's imagine that's war.
Yeah, I mean, they
That's
mentioned
why
like
everyone.
Queen Victoria at one point, so I don't know what the actual time. I assume the time period's supposed to be set during like the T.S. Eliot story, which
Well, yeah, right. It's the T.S. Eliot story is like from the 30s or something.
Yeah.
Like 38. So, I everyone's at war and the Jellicles stayed home.
And I feel like, see, like with the musical, it's set up like a musical. It sets the story in one location. Here we're moving throughout it, but the problem is a lot of this musical is kind of like metaphorical, like kind of concepts, more abstract ideas. But by grounding so much of this movie in like real world places and things, it just makes me question so much more of what's happening at all times.
Yeah.
Because there's like, you know, we're in a human world with like human things, and it shows like, I don't know, Victoria wears like a watch around her neck, like a choker at one point, and you've got there's a scene where two cats are wearing like top hats, but they're oversized because they're human sized. But then there's a cat size hat top that Mr. Mistopheles wears, and two characters with tiny cat sized sneakers. Where did they get those?
Disgusting.
Rebel Wilson unzips her skin and pulls her hair off.
That's not even something a cat does.
No. It's so bizarre.
You just reminded me of that. There are parts of this that I blocked out of my mind. And now I'm like, yeah, she fucking opens up she walks out of her own fur.
Yes.
For a fursuit.
A fursuit where she's wearing clothing on top of her regular fur, I assume.
I hate that. I hate that so much. Fursona is going crazy in this movie.
Yeah.
But there is one part of this movie, Heart,
yes,
that I like.
Oh.
Yes, I know. And it is, what's her name? Gruntilda? Griselda, is that her name? The Jennifer Hudson cat.
Yeah.
Grisabella.
Yeah, Grisabella.
I wasn't none of these actors are singers to me. And so even if Rebel Wilson might have been in those Sing movies, the whatever they're called, she's not a singer to me. Idris Elba, Ian McKellen, Jude Dench, these aren't singers.
No.
So like their songs are whatever, you know, they're at best, these songs are intolerable. At worst, they are like, I'm like driving, like I'm just kind of like mouth agape, like, oh my god.
Yeah, the Judi Dench song was just kind of, it's so slow and painful, and especially her ending song that just feels like it goes on forever.
Oh, well, we'll get to the ending song, because that is the funniest thing in this movie. But
it's an interesting part that happens too. Anyway.
I think Grisabella, when she comes out and she sings Memories, which is like the Tony Award winning song of the Broadway musical, and the song of Cats, right?
Which supposedly, when she sung it, made the cast and crew cry.
It made me, I almost cried.
Yes. She's pretty good at the song.
She's pretty good.
Yeah. It stands out among the other songs for sure.
Well, we're all right. I don't want to compare Jennifer Hudson to any of the other cats. I think when I can't do that to her because she is so good. She's unreasonably good in this movie. Just for Memories, she really put her whole heart. And so I heard Memories, and I thought Cats could be like if you would have pitched Cats to me and Memories would have been the only song you sang, I would have granted you your $100 million budget.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
It's on my Spotify. It was on my Spotify playlist when it came out, and after watching it, it's re-entered. But that is the highlight of an otherwise disturbing movie.
Yes.
But it's so good that Cat somehow manages to have like one of the best songs, and then one of the best songs, like I don't want to say ever, but a really great song. in a really terrible movie. It like could win a Grammy and a Razzie for this.
And
You
I think
know?
it definitely won several Razzies.
God, I bet.
Which actually, I think Tom Hooper, I believe he was nominated or won an Academy Award for The King's Speech, and also like Best Picture, and then won Worst Picture at the Razzies for this.
It always comes full circle. There's how many actors has that happened to? You know, they won an Oscar and then they did like a superhero movie or something, and then won. I think that happened to Halle Berry. I think Halle Berry won an Oscar and then she did Catwoman and won a Razzie.
Yeah, she did.
But look, Grisabella shows up and she kills it, and you almost, this is like halfway through the movie.
Yes.
And you almost forgive all of the movie's sins up until that point. At least for me, I felt like that song was so good, I was willing to give Cats in their shot. Maybe that's why I came in the middle of the movie and like wiped the slate clean, because it was preparing you for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, definitely in the theater, like the movie was very much dragging, and that song happened, and it was like, oh, this isn't too bad.
Yeah, that's why I won a Tony. Which I also have a story about memory.
Oh.
And cats. So, I had a friend. I have a friend. She's still my friend, but she's telling me about a birthday party her uncle had, and her uncle asked for everyone to, like, instead of a gift, everyone write a song or a poem, some sort of art to give him, right? To dedicate to him.
Nice.
I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I maybe a little, I don't know, like, you're like, yeah, tell me how much you love me. But she goes, and I think she wrote like a poem for him, and you know, it's very sweet. And she says, you know, this woman comes up to her, and she's like, so my friend wrote a song, but didn't want to sing it, right?
Yeah.
And she asks this woman at the party to sing it for her, and it's a stupid song. It's like a dumb song. It's like a almost borderline nursery rhyme, you know?
Yeah.
And this woman sings it, and she's telling me, she's like, this woman sang her heart out. You know, people were crying. People were applauding afterwards. There wasn't a dry eye in the audience. Everyone in the room was like, oh my God, amazing. And she's singing like a dumb song. So, you know, there's that. But then she goes, oh, you know, so I was talking to the woman afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And she has a Tony. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, she won a Tony for Cats.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? What did she play in Cats? Grisabella.
Oh, of course.
My friend, her uncle knew Betty Buckley, Tony Award winning singer who won, who originally sang Memories and won a Tony.
Nice.
Yeah, right? Nuts. To sing a birthday party. And she was also in The Happening.
Oh, really?
She's that old woman in The Happening.
Oh my God.
The one who's like, you're gonna kill me, and Mark Wahlberg's like, what? No. That's her.
Oh my God.
I know, nuts.
The only thing that have had happened to me like that is there was a time when I was in boarding school, we had to do community service. We went to different places, but there was one where we went to a nursing home, and there was two nursing homes. There was the state level bad nursing home where people are like walking around with like pee soaked pants, and it's bad. And then there was the really nice one, which had there was an old Rolls Royce out front, like a really nice car, and like a very high end. But apparently one of the women, we were talking to like some of the ladies there, like doing, I don't know, mache or something. But they were talking about this other woman who apparently was one of the young girls in like the Shirley Temple movies. But she's now got dementia and doesn't remember any of it.
Really?
But yeah, so that was, I don't know, one of the women I helped take care of, but like, I don't know, she was famous, and then there, we all end up in the nursing home someday.
Wait, so was she Shirley Temple, or was she
No,
one
she
of
was
the?
just one of the girls that was
She
in a
was
lot of the movies.
She was an extra.
Yes, basically, one of the extra girls.
That's awesome. I wonder. You should have asked her if she could tap dance.
I don't know. She might remember. Just depends on the day.
Dang. Musicals, they bring people together.
Yeah.
You never know who you run into at a retirement or at a birthday party.
Yep.
But I digress. Memories hit.
Yes.
And suddenly, this movie, I'm like, all right, I'm reinvigorated.
Which at this point, we do get a song from Victoria for the first time in 50 minutes. And we don't know anything about her until this point.
Yes, and that is original song. That's one of the original songs, the Beautiful Ghost song.
Yes, that's one of the new songs just for her.
Another song I didn't mind.
Yeah, it was all right.
See, and this was a combo. This was like Memories hit, and then Beautiful Ghost hit. And like on one hand, I'm like, all right, girl, Beautiful Ghost is not like, you're not Jennifer Hudson. On the other hand, I'm like, these are the two tolerable songs that are like back to back.
Yeah, so far they're kind of nice.
Right. So I'm like, okay, maybe I could see the rest of this through.
And then
And then that's when Taylor Swift shows up, right? That's when the fucking Taylor Swift drugs everyone with the catnip.
Yes, with
and
Rumple
the cavity
Teaser in the back and helping.
When cat on cat crime. I again raising more questions about the world.
Yes.
How these cats are so loose with their bodies. Drugs. Doing poppers.
Just having fun.
Just having fun. Just doing stuff. Just drugging their friends and not friends, just drugging their enemies. Drugging their fellow Jellicle. This is when I stopped the movie and walked away. I couldn't take it anymore.
It does get kind of unbearable.
What is up with the old dude? Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen, Gus, the theater cat.
Yeah, what is his deal? What happens to him? I lose the plot at this point.
I mean, basically, he sings his song about being a theater cat, and he used to be young, but now he's old, and then he wanders off, and McCavity kidnaps him and goes off in a cloud of dust with the M on the wall. McCavity! And then
that reminds me of like Shadow Mario. What is the Shadow Mario from Super Mario Shine? Or he graffitis the M?
Yeah, I mean, he kidnaps Ian McKellen, and then we don't really see much of him after that.
But Ian McKellen is like magic, right?
As far as I know, I think he's just a theater cat. He's just an actor. He's a thespian.
But doesn't he conjure someone back?
Well, that is Mr. Mistopheles, the magical cat.
Am I getting my cats confused?
Yes. Mr. Mistopheles, the magical cat, has the top hat and the vest. He's the one pining for Victoria.
Yeah, he's, again, unreasonably horny.
Yes, and his song, I have a problem with because it starts and stops like 5 times or more, and it is so painful to get through.
Kind of, he's like redoing. It's like take 2.
Yeah, yeah. Every time he's trying to conjure back old Deuteronomy after Mistopheles kidnaps her.
They don't explain that, right? There's
no.
Like he is he is magic. That's it. That's his thing. He's the magic cat.
He's the magic cat, and so is McCavity as well. But McCavity's also a thief and a criminal. I don't know. But both of them have magical abilities for some reason.
Mr. Mistopheles, cool cat. McCavity, a liar and a thief.
Yes.
Now, what is there? If I were to be so bold as to look into the meaning of something like Mistopheles, does that have a meaning?
I don't have any idea.
This isn't like some Bible poll or something, right?
I don't think so. I mean, a lot
No,
of the
he's
names
not.
are so bizarre, but it's like I don't know where they come from.
I was like, is Mistopheles some sort of like Greek name, some like something pulled from the Bible, something that has deeper meaning? And no, he's just a fucking black and white tuxedo cat with magical powers he cannot yet fully control.
Yeah, that
That's
seems
it.
to be it.
That's it. That's my fault. Thought that I thought there was some deeper meaning in his name.
Nope.
So they fucking dance together. Miss Mistopheles brings back all the cats, right?
Yeah. Well, he brings back old Deuteronomy, and the other cats get themselves out of the situation and then just show up later.
Yeah. See, this is what I was like. I was sort of checked out at this part of the movie. So I kind of like, I look up and I'm like, what's going on? But it turns out the movie didn't really know what was going on.
No, it does. It especially falls apart at the end. I mean, it's not clear what the plot is until kind of later, where it's just like McCavity wants to be chosen as a Jellicle cat. He's kidnapping all the other contestants, and then when it doesn't work out, he kidnaps old Deuteronomy, and then makes her walk a plank so that it choose me or die, and she doesn't. And then we get the scene where for 5 minutes, Mistopheles is trying to bring back Deuteronomy, who I'm imagining at this point is at the bottom of the Thames and is drowned. But no, she's back. She's fine.
And old Deuteronomy. Old Deuteronomy, what's her deal? Because she is the one who grants she makes the Jellicle choice.
Yes, she's old and well respected. We don't know why she's respected. She was around during Victoria's inauguration. That's what we know about her.
Okay, wait. Deuteronomy is in the Bible.
Oh yeah,
Book of Deuteronomy. The 5th book of the Torah, where the book consists 3 sermons and speeches. Shortly before they enter the Promised Land.
Yes.
I guess.
I mean, she's basically she's like the gatekeeper. She chooses who goes to the great beyond.
Here we go. I was like, where's Mistopheles meaning? But Deuteronomy. Oh, duh. Okay. So, they fucking kill McCavity.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I admit, they send off Grisabella in the balloon going to the Heaviside layer. She gets chosen.
Wait, no, but doesn't that happen after?
Well, no, because she goes off and then McCavity tries to grab onto the balloon and go with her, and that's when he falls onto a statue, which I imagine. I just imagine him being impaled in a bloody scene, but no, he just kind of falls down.
It's like the scene from GoldenEye where Alec just falls onto the satellite. Yeah. McCavity is desperate cat.
Yes.
We don't know why they want to go to the Promised Land, only that they're going to the Promised Land.
Yeah.
Which for all, I think they want to die, maybe.
I mean, maybe so, because, I mean, again, in the world we've established, magic does exist, but they did just put a woman on a balloon and just sent her off into the atmosphere.
A Jellicle on that balloon.
Yes. So, I don't know. Eventually she goes up high enough where she either suffocates or the balloon pops and she falls down, unless there's a magical land above that I don't know about.
I think a biplane took her out.
It would make sense.
Just fucking knock her out. But we learn about that song, the spoken word song that Judi Dench delivers at the end.
Oh god.
Wow, what an experience.
Which I also wanted to point out, Victoria is basically the audience insert. They tell her what's going on. She's the one who's experiencing all this. But then at the end, old Deuteronomy turns and looks right in the camera and
Yes!
talks to us, the audience.
Yes. That was the craziest part of this whole thing. I remember seeing that in the theater and like losing it because I was like, she turns directly to the camera multiple times, so like almost as if like she's like putting a pyramid, a period on her set, you know. And I think that's the Judi Dench hand scene, but she delivers the speech or the song speech, and Bella flies up and explodes.
Yeah, basically.
When I saw that in the theater, I was watching it in the theater, and I remember when that happened, a man in the audience just like broke. Like he just he let out the heartiest laugh. I could not. I was like, wow. There was like a mother there with like her kid, and I was like, she kind of got like offended. I was like, what are you doing here? Bringing your kids to this 110 minutes? You didn't think your kid wanted something else?
Yeah, no, I mean, kids love stories about sexually explicit cats that want to die.
Yeah, sexually charged cats. These are the horniest cats. They're scary. If I was, I would be so mad at my mom.
Well, at the theater I was at, there was a couple that really liked James Corden, Rebel Wilson's jokes, which are the worst.
Brother.
And at one point, there was someone in like one of the more front rows that got up about halfway, and I saw them go out, and I didn't see them come back.
They never returned.
No,
they popped into gold dust.
My sister was checking the clock towards the end there. She was like, when is this over?
That is the thing. This movie's 110 minutes, which kind of sounds like a lot, but that's less than 2 hours.
Yeah, it's about like an hour 40-ish, I think.
And it feels so long.
Yes.
It's like exhausting. That's why I had to walk away at a certain point. I was like, I feel like it's like an endurance, like some sort of endurance race.
There is a lot happening on screen at all times during songs that generally don't make any sense, with like so many cuts and camera angles going on that it's disorienting, and a lot of scenes where people are just in one place and then cut to them in a slightly different place now.
I know, it's disorienting.
It's not like very well established what's happening or where you are, just things and camera angles, and especially Jason Derulo showing up and the camera just gets crazy during that.
Right. Now Jason Derulo's whole thing almost it kind of reminded me of like an old school video where they like it's almost like a fisheye, or like it feels like it's shot in a cheese grater.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely pulled back the focal length. It's very like very wide shots, and it feels very, I don't know, unsettling in some scenes.
Now Jason Derulo, I remember reading this, that Jason Derulo was upset about his dick print being removed, and then I think about those animators, the people who are working behind the scenes on the CG.
Yep.
They had 6 months, and they were like, we got to remove every dick print in this movie.
Yep, and there's probably a lot to get through, and because I was watching the behind the scenes, I saw, the actors in their tracker suits, which have these big like tracker packs of some sort on the thighs.
Mm-hmm.
And during the scene with the tap dancing railroad cat, you can see those under his pants the entire time.
I think that might be the worst scene.
It very much is in a lot of ways.
That whole scenario. I think that has the most errors that maybe like are still noticeable. Like you don't even really have to pause to see like the errors in that one.
There's a lot of them all happening at once.
It's something you like take a shot when you see the green screen reflect off someone's boots or something.
That is the scene specifically on the official Universal YouTube channel that is in 4K in all its glory to see every detail.
Nuts to think that they would put that up.
That's the
4K.
one they chose.
I don't know. I guess it's a good song, but it's a little damning. I would have put Memories up there.
Yeah, you think that would be the one
You
to
put
go
Memories in 4K, but you know what? If you put Memories in 4K, no one will. So at the end of the day, one cat makes it to salvation.
Yes.
Victoria, our main cat, gets accepted.
Yes.
Into the rest of the cats, and they just until next year we do it again.
Yep, they meet every year. I don't know where they go in between. Does she live there now, or does she go somewhere else? Or I don't know. Her and Mr. Mistopheles seem to be getting along at the end, and she's a Jellicle cat now.
Don't even talk about them. I don't even want to think they're getting like friendly.
That James Corden's character is nuzzling up to some other guy we've never seen really established in the entire film. It's just some other guy in like a suit, and he's feeding him.
I hate that. I hate that. It's just like ugh to me. This whole movie. At the end, I was like, "Wow, this is ugly."
Yeah.
And I did not like this movie. I don't know if you could guess.
Yeah, I it's like the question is it so bad it's good, and I say no because it's just so unbearable to get through. There is some crazy CGI, and I think it's worth that one watch maybe, but then never again. I would
even disagree. I would think that I would show you Memories and Beautiful Ghost on YouTube, and maybe the Railroad Cat to show off some of the errors, and that's it. I would close it.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only points of the film that I think are decently good or watchable in any way.
I think that this movie is not good enough to. It's not good, but it's not even the so bad you're good that you would appreciate from other musicals or other just other lowbrow or high. But I don't know, whatever campy movie you think of, where you're like, oh yeah, this movie is shitty, but I like it. This movie is shitty and it's not good and it's not enjoyable and it just feels. I've never met anyone who enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, it doesn't have a story that anybody could really follow. And again, Jellicle cats. I don't know what the fuck a Jellicle cat is, but from what they've told me, a Jellicle cat is pretty much everything that is a cat, I guess. I don't know.
Problematic, because a Jellicle cat can't be everything. Andrew Lloyd Webber. Andrew Lloyd Webber is like, what a con man for that. What a con man for cat. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this man is talented. He musical. He's a legend in musical theater. He's won an Oscar, an Emmy, a Grammy, and a Tony.
Nice.
He's a knight.
Oh yes.
He was knighted. And I think Cats might be one of his greatest cons.
Yeah, I don't know. That one line of him just saying, "My God, they bought it." It's just like it's like he knew.
I like all the best to him though. I wish I could get something out there that people. It's like the producers, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh shit, they're buying it." What I just gotta publicly apologize because I really forgot that this movie was as bad as it was.
It was hard to get through. I definitely started it and stopped it multiple times because I had to take a break.
Yeah. Also, before I forget, so this movie came out in 2019.
Yes.
Right? And this was I think the second to last movie I watched before the pandemic. Because Sonic the Hedgehog was actually the last movie I had saw before things shut down. But people blame cats for the pandemic. And I think there's some truth to it.
Could be. I don't know. It is pretty cursed.
I know. I don't want to say that. You put this up and it'll get us flagged. It'll be like this has incorrect information about the coronavirus or something. But
fake news.
Yeah. Imagine that. This is your legacy. is to like be in cats. Thankfully, most of these actors were either bigger than this movie that they didn't like this. Like no one's gonna stop hiring Judi Dench or Ian McKellen because of Cat.
Yep, they're gonna keep getting work.
You know, and singers like Taylor Swift and Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson, like, she sang the hell out of. She was the best part of this movie. And Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift. Like, nobody was hurt by this. Maybe Tom Hooper.
Which, as far as IMDb says, this is the last movie he's directed, and nothing since, nothing in production.
See, that's maybe his career. Maybe
this might be the one.
This is the one. And it's crazy. He had a pretty good streak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there was he also did what was it? The Danish Girl, which I was meaning to see but haven't.
That's right. He did the Danish Girl, he did Les Mis, he did the King's Speech. He did some pretty decent films. And then he had Cat.
Yep.
Which he was, and Cat's, interesting enough, has him listed as a director, producer, and writer. Only film of his to have all three of those.
Yes, and it's one of the few films that I think he even has listed as a writing credit.
Yeah. This is his fault.
Yeah, there's he has a TV movie from 1992 and then Cats as his writing credits.
I guess he's a better director.
Yeah, I stay away from the writing.
He did direct 2 episodes of his Dark Materials, which is supposed to be a good show. So he's still getting work. I think he's just in cryogenic sleep. He's just waiting to bust out a banger. Like, you know, if you made Cats, you would have to take a break afterwards.
I mean, I would think so. And I mean, in terms of Hollywood directors, a lot of times you direct that one bad movie and they just kind of dump you, but he does have a track record of good movies before this, so it might be okay, but he's definitely not doing anything right now, it seems like.
Right, award-winning stuff too, because actors were nominated for The King's Speech, for Les Mis, The Danish Girl. Those movies were nominated for awards.
Yes.
Won awards. And then Cats won a bunch of Razzies.
Yes, it did. It won several awards for Razzies.
It kind of swept the Razzies that year.
Yeah, they got I think supporting actress, Judi Dench, and a bunch of other things.
Yeah, worst picture, worst director, worst supporting actor, which went to James Corden. 2 worst supporting actress. Judi Dench was nominated, but it was Rebel Wilson that won.
Oh, yes.
Worst screenplay and worst screen combo. And now again, Cats was nominated twice for Jason Derulo and his CGI nude bulge, and any 2 half feline, half human hair. And that is what won the Razzie. However, again, in the same breath, it was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Original Song.
Yep.
So, yeah, and nominated for a Grammy. So this is also the best. This is also like Grammy nominated, Golden Globe nominated, Razzie winning movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a conundrum.
It's wow. just insane. I feel like if you have never seen this movie, I wouldn't say run to it, you know. I would probably rather see a screening of the musical itself than to watch this again.
And I would probably recommend that as well.
Yeah. And if you were really curious about it, look up on YouTube to like stamp out that curiosity.
Yeah, there's plenty of videos up there, especially the Rebel Wilson video.
Insane. Crazy movie. So you wouldn't recommend this?
I would,
as a cat scholar.
Yeah, I would not, unless you just really need to see the horrific monstrosity that is the CGI, because that's about the only thing for me that is even worth looking at.
I would only watch this movie again if they did put out the butthole cut. And because apparently there may or may not have been a butthole cut of this movie.
It's like I kind of refuse to believe it, but then seeing this movie, the choices they made, maybe.
Yeah. in that 6-month scramble, you think they were like there was a I bet. Oh my God, imagine this! I bet in a real like meeting room, you know, they're looking at the footage and they're like, "Do we keep the butthole?" I bet that was a real email chain. You know,
it might be.
Like it's like, should we keep the butthole? I think we should keep the butthole. Tom wants to keep the butthole.
I mean, supposedly it was what, like using like real cat references, so maybe.
Real cat buttholes. I think this would have earned an adult rating.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could have. What is this movie rated? It's PG.
It should be R. It should be adults only.
Yeah, I would suggest that.
Yeah. And Andrew Weber apparently also was a strong critic of this movie. So bad that it inspired him to adopt a dog.
Yes, I was reading that.
So, shout out to Weber for pulling off this con. Shout out to T.S. Eliot for writing this weird book of poems. Shout out to the original cast of Cats, Betty Buckley and all who were involved.
They definitely have the better version.
And shout out to Jennifer Hudson for Memories, because it's still a good, despite the odds, it is still a very good song, sang with far too much heart.
Yeah, she puts in way too much effort for everything else that happens up to that point.
Insane. And everyone else, damn them the hell. So I you know what though, the team, I wish I want to hear their story. Is there something more? Was this just a situation of overworked animators having to deal with like the worst possible movie in the world? Or was this really a mismanaged movie? You know?
Yeah, I mean, they may have, given Tom Hooper like the control of the film, like, oh, he's got a good track record, he knows what he's doing, and then check in later and it's like, oh my God, how much money did you spend? What is this?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, all right, step aside the movie and we're gonna put it together in a few months and show it.
Yeah, which supposedly he went in and like didn't like one cut and like recut the film at some point, but that
must have been the butthole cut.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we may never know.
We probably won't.
If there's anyone who ever comes across this, reach out to us and we'll talk about it. We'll revisit Cats.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
Any closing thoughts on this adventure?
I don't know. I feel this movie makes me feel numb. I feel concussed.
Yeah. I feel like really like gross. I feel like I watched something I should.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I shouldn't have watched. Like I don't know. Like coming across something dirty, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be looking at this, but I watched 110 minutes of it.
Yeah, I can't offhand think of another film that makes me feel this gross.
Yeah, it is. It should be a torture method of some sort.
Yeah. I mean, this is I would definitely put this on repeat as a form of torture.
Oh,
maybe just the Jellicle Cat song. I don't know. That's the one that gets me every time.
That's like at the beginning of a movie.
Yeah, it opens with that synth where it's like some drunk guy got a hold of a Casio and it's like
yeah. I was like, is I in the wrong movie? Yeah. I hate that. Well, hopefully we'll pick something a little more entertaining next time.
Yes, there's so many options. Anything's better than this.
Well, all right. That's it for me. I have no other closing arguments except that you should not watch this movie, not even if you're curious.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Well, all right. We're going to sign off then. We'll sign off on that. Avoid cats. And we'll talk to you next time, guys.
Hopefully with a better movie.
Have a good one.